explain to a lot of people, when I say borrowed power, and when most people say borrowed power, we're specifically talking about the systems that Blizzard invents within their game that only lasts for a single expansion, right? And we're talking about systems that is extremely intricate to design, intricate to develop, and intricate to balance. These are systems that take almost all of your development resources just to make sure that they are ready by the time the expansion launches. And then to see that system just sort of fall by the wayside, since, now they're done with it, they're going to move on and do a brand new system, that's what people talk about when they say borrowed power. Because it ultimately, in my opinion, ends up hurting the game rather than actually saving the game, or making the game better in any way, shape, or form. So here's what I think is the fundamental problem with systems like the Covenant system now, like the artifact weapons in Legion, like, for example, that you had the Azerite armor in Battle for Azeroth. Whenever you do something brand new for the very first time, so let's imagine artifact weapons, right? It's bound to have some innate problems within the system, right? That's just how it is. A system is always going to have problems. But now, over the course of an expansion, you kind of learn from your mistakes. You kind of go through iterations where you learn what to do, what not to do, how to do it, how not to do it. And then by the end of that expansion, you have a pretty good idea of, oh my god, this is actually a pretty good system. I'm kind of liking where this system is. Maybe we could do this, that, or that. Now, if artifact weapons persisted into BFA, can you imagine how brilliant artifact weapons would have been in BFA, taking everything that Blizzard learned from Legion? So effectively, what I would have imagined would have happened there is Blizzard would have moved the artifact system off of weapons and into a sort of separate class, if you will, yeah? Introducing some sort of choice mechanic to it. So you can't unlock all of these talents or all of these abilities within your artifact weapon system, but you can choose, say, of the 3 golden traits that you have for BFA, you can choose 2. And one of them might be, massive AoE, another one might be massive single target, another one might be utility. So you kind of choose, and it takes you in different pathways. But now again, Blizzard learns, right? So they introduce a bunch of new golden traits and a bunch of new abilities or smaller traits that you get to choose from, and they learn. So once they get to the end of BFA, they've learned a hell of a lot more, which now means that they can actually take this story, they can take this system into Shadowlands and again build on what they've learned through the last 2 expansions, right? So you see how this becomes a better and better system every expansion. Now imagine that Blizzard said, right, we've added artifact systems in Legion. So because they knew that this wasn't going to be an expansion only system, but rather a system that's going to carry forward into the next, they decided not to add it to the weapons, but rather to make it this separate sort of subclass system, if you will. Yeah? So now Blizzard takes that into BFA. But at the start of BFA, Blizzard's like, wait a second, we want another system to kind of make BFA feel fresh as well. So we're going to add Island Expeditions for this expansion, right? Not for this expansion, but this is going to be a major draw in Battle for Azeroth, Island Expeditions. That's now going to be a thing pulling forward throughout from BFA forward into every other expansion. So what do they do now? Well, now they say, okay, if we take Island Expeditions, we learn a bunch of lessons. By the time halfway through the expansion, they've learned that a lot of people didn't see the value in Island Expeditions, so maybe they add some gear to them. Maybe they add some kind of fun interplay between some of the other systems that you have within the game. So all of a sudden, this becomes a system that again can be built upon, right? And it will become better over time. So when we're talking about borrowed power, that's what I mean. Systems that fall by the wayside every single expansion, and then we restart it all. We learn nothing from the expansions that we've just done. We don't move forward ever. We restart every single time. So we're always resetting everything to the time where things didn't fucking work, yeah? And then we have to relearn all the lessons of the past. We're constantly just in this process of Blizzard relearning all the fuck-ups that they made before, and then by the time they finally figure out how the system is supposed to run, it's the end of the expansion. Congratulations, new one coming. We're gonna relearn all the lessons again. And to tell you guys that this is exactly what happened with Shadowlands. This is exactly where the Covenants are right now. The Covenant is a mess. And when I say mess, wait until you get your hands on it. If nothing else changed, and the Covenants remained the way that they are right now, they would break so many players. Because we're not just talking about small little iterations here in damage. We're talking about going from one Covenant to the next could be a 50% damage reduction. 100%, boom, 50% less damage for you. If Blizzard tweaks, just a tiny tweak destroys it. So Blizzard came out for Affliction Warlocks. Necrolords were the #1 Covenant, right? That was the Covenant that everyone wanted to be. You wanted to be an Affliction Warlock Necrolord, yeah? Blizzard made a tiny change. They changed it from buffing your next 3 Drain Souls to only 1 of your Drain Souls, yeah? Dead. You're no longer a Necrolord Affliction Warlock. Now you want to go for the Vaintheer. I believe Bastion is actually the best one right now, or Ardenweald, one of those two, is actually the best right now for Affliction Warlocks. That's a small little change, and it's just gone. That entire Covenant is dead. So if the expansion launched, right, and they did this after the expansion, boom, all of a sudden every single Affliction Warlock is forced to go to a new Covenant. So I'm not saying decouple the personal power from the Covenants. I'm just saying, as it is right now, it clearly isn't fucking working. Yeah? It clearly isn't working. So there's definitely something that has to happen within the expansion, or that has to be balanced. And I don't know if it can be balanced. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if it can be balanced. But yeah. As for the delay of the Shadowlands expansion, it could only be a good thing. And I'll end with this. The last expansion ever that Blizzard actually delayed was TBC. And TBC was a wonderful expansion. So if history teaches us anything, it's that maybe the delay isn't that bad. Maybe this delay could help Shadowlands live up to the potential that it ultimately has to live up to. I just wish that from this moment forward, Blizzard would stop making life so hard for themselves. You do not need new systems every single expansion. Just make the expansions fun. Right? Stop coming up with these elaborate ideas that just make it harder for yourself to actually balance the game. Just do it fun. Just make fun. Just make fun content that people want to partake in, and we'll all be all the more happy for it.